16 personalities. Have you done that?
I have not, and I want to do that. I've heard it's like top of the line. It's like really good.
It's free.
Wait,
and
what?
If it's for free, it's for me, right? I actually, when I had W-2 employees, I would have them take the 16 personalities test so I could better understand how to work with them.
That's help me early. Yeah, help me early.
As a linguist, I can remember certain teachers explaining like, oh no, like muscle memory, like you have to say that a certain amount of times for it to be eloquent and for it to stick with you. But like physically, like your mouth has to move that direction a certain amount of times, or your lips, your tongue, whatever, as a linguist, for it to become fluid and natural.
Yes.
But I think that's another good point. You talked about identity and AI and from a business standpoint too, and reminded me of a recent past client who is no longer with us.
So you
not on the earth, but just from
graduated
marketing.
them. You graduated them.
I laterally transferred them to a different school.
You promoted them to another place, and in the process of promotion, you were able to alleviate yourself of all manner of responsibility tied to them.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Congratulations.
Yeah. So that was a big pain point for us, actually, was the misutilization that informed a business owner's vision. So if you think tactically, there's a way to prompt any given AI system, right? And then there's a way not to. And then if you over-rely on those systems to inform your own business owner vision and how you want things, whether or not it's from a branding perspective, operationally, like I feel like that's going to become the new issue for many business consultants.
Wow. Okay.
Marketing professionals.
Yes, sir.
Anybody really in a consultant field. They're going to deal with business owners who are new at what they're doing.
Okay.
Have a vision or feel like they do. And then they're overutilizing AI systems in a very elementary way.
Yeah.
Without enough practice to further inform their vision. And that's what we ran into. And that became a problem because we would literally have a client who had conflicting new versions of their vision.
Okay.
That didn't make sense.
What do you think led to them having what it sounds like is they had like a poor AI acumen?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What do you think the reasons are for that?
I think, go ahead.
What reasons that they can control, what reasons that they cannot control?
Another part about that context, and this isn't to dog on a past client, right? No shade throwing.
Okay.
But this particular client was not the right fit, and we probably shouldn't have worked with them.
Okay.
To begin with. Overall, the mindset wasn't the right type of mindset to hire, a professional marketing company to work with.
Yep.
And that was a part of it. That also speaks to their level of I would say ignorance to certain business things. And I don't say that in a mean way. Ignorance. Ignorance just means like lack of knowledge in a certain subject, right?
Yes.
So same thing there, right? I think a friend told him, hey, you should use this thing. It's called ChatGPT.
Uh-oh.
And when you let it just run everything, like it's not you. It's not human based, you know.
Let it run everything unsupervised.
Yeah. Like you can't let it respond to all of your emails for you. And by respond, and that sounds so much more systems and automated oriented than it is. Literally just a copy and paste, no formatting from ChatGPT to an email, like in response to like along the way, and that just doesn't work out well.
You see this in the world.
Yes, in the business world. It's because and that's not just this client. And I'm like, man, it's becoming a thing.
I find myself making the same mistakes you're talking about, but that perfectionist in me that really doesn't need to be there works those things out, recognizes, okay, that doesn't work. There are some things that you can have an exchange that don't have to feel entirely human that works. It's the basic stuff, right? The invoicing, some of the smaller replies that are not extraordinarily value oriented, other than the fact that they were sent and received. That was the value.
Yeah.
But I feel like I learn that. I learn about what I can accept, what I cannot, through recovering from perfectionism. And those are the things that actually help me, because I run into the same problems. I would do it too, except that thing kind of like offsets that. But yeah, I'm somewhat surprised that people aren't, that's what I'm trying to say, is I'm surprised that people aren't working that part of it out for themselves as they're using it, but instead they're just on autopilot and they just let the thing keep going.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody's got their genius, right?
Yeah.
This person's genius was very much towards their craft. Not in the digital sense, not in anything else. So when they do things like don't format out of Aptos or whatever it is that ChatGPT spits out as a format, right? Mm-hmm. And you just plug that into like Gmail.
Yeah.
It's very much not, like, it's very obvious, right?
Yes.
So the ignorance is there. Like, that's not their level of genius. Their level of genius is for their craft, right? So I get that. I think, to your point though, in general in business, I think the people who will do better are those who know they're enough of a generalist.
Yeah.
And now they know that there's this new thing that they can also leverage, as opposed to the people who are growing up with the thing.
Yep.
And that's what they're relying on. They don't have enough of the generalist mentality to be able to see, as a perfectionist or whatever the case is, I would have said it this way.
Yeah.
Let me iterate.
Yep.
And refine.
Yep. So I was at my son's baseball game, and he has a teammate, and his teammate's mom is a VP at one of these, larger banking organizations. And we were talking about AI, and I liked her approach to it. She's kind of like, well, and not just AI. We're talking like full scale automation within the marketing space and just all kinds of cool stuff. And I was asking her questions. I was super curious at the time. We were still I think we're still new and early on a lot of this, even though it's kind of a crazy world that we're living in right now. But at that time, she was just talking about, here's the thing, like, none of this stuff really can be unsupervised. Like, you have to have, it's almost like checkpoints of supervision and inserting the human element, the human touch, so that there's that reassurance. The goal isn't that it really is doing everything for you without your supervision. The goal is it's doing the heavy lifting and making the job that you have to do, helping that job to get done a lot quicker than it would have otherwise gotten done.
Yeah.
That's that. But so this whole thing, which leads us to almost really to this whole concept, this idea of like, oh, AI is going to take your job.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no, like it is, but you should be giving it a job to take. Like you should be giving to AI a job as opposed to thinking from the perspective, oh, it's taking. No, you should be directing as, what's his name? I'm like, Dan Martell. He's great.
Yeah,
I like him.
Oh, yeah.
But he talks about it, hey, the people who are going to win are the directors, the ones who are giving AI a job to do instead of having the perspective of oh, here's my job that it's going to take. So I think that how she articulated that was super helpful. It's what I see. So, full circle, it seems like business owners are in need of AI education, full scale. Small business owners,
big time. Yeah.
I feel like we can move beyond small business owners. I think larger scale.
Yeah, and medium-sized businesses, corporations, for sure.
Here's the thing. Like I would give credit to corporations for having figured out so much. They've got so many more heads on the issue. They just got a ton of resources to be able to figure it all out. Mm-hmm. They're not perfect either, though. There's things that they miss, and quite frankly, it just seems like today, more times than not, all of your small scale influencers are just constantly disrupting the market for them. I mean, Netflix buying Warner Brothers is, I feel like, kind of akin to that. Yeah. Not that went through. I think Paramount came in and swooped in and did something. I don't know the whole story. I don't remember.
No, but I see your point.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the big corporations, where they fall short is the way we've always done it mindset, the hierarchical organization that has a traditional, well, that department should do this.
Yeah.
This department does that. But
yes.
they've not thought about, we need a technological ethics officer, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas small business has the ability, or a medium-sized business has the ability, potentially, within the confines of the personalities, to be agile or dynamic.
Yes, that's well said.
Mm-hmm. But you're right. AI won't replace people. People leveraging AI the right way will replace people, as in the competition. So from a business standpoint, if you're able to better leverage it and better utilize this new tool, that's what replaces other business, in a way.
I was slight pushback.
Yes.
This concept of lowest hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking a buddy of mine, I said, hey, are we over-indexing on the lowest hanging fruit? I mean, how long are we gonna keep doing the lowest hanging fruit thing, right? And the real thing here is to looking beyond kind of what's just there and the easiest to do. Coming back to what we're talking about AI, and it's like, we're talking about replacing jobs, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going, is this another one of those moments where we need to look beyond what's just kind of right in front of us? And we're always talking about the replacement. We're going to be out of jobs, yada, yada, yada. And pretty soon we're going to need a universal living income or something like that. And I'm going, is there any world that exists where we just kind of reframe it and we change our perspective and we're saying, no, we're teaching AI to do a job so that it can make money that we can have? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't even have to do the work anymore. You're just going to teach it to do the work, or you're going to direct it to do the work. And instead of thinking of it as job replacement, you could actually be the one to create some system of operation that AI is heavily involved in so that you can make the money. Be empowered enough to think that way, as opposed to thinking, if I don't do this, it's going to take my job. That's just that's a Peter Griffin grinding my gears moment. You know what I mean? You know what really grinds my gears? I think that's how he says it.
So, Brian, been writing that book about 3 years now,
This is unplanned, by the way.
That is a phenomenal Stewie impression. I don't know if I've heard a better one. Sorry, it was just that pushback about maybe we don't really need to think about it as AI is going to take our jobs. Is that the truth? Sure, but let's get off of that and let's get on to something just so much more positive and empowering for all of us. Everybody can be a director. Everybody's got leadership inside of them. So with that, you can develop that leadership and learn how to direct this new whatever it is to do things for you in an easier way, in a way that it's, I don't know if it's costing you less, but maybe it's costing you less in terms of like time, energy, effort.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I do know.
I'm excited about what we don't know.
Yeah.
The unknowns.
Yes.
Yeah. As in, what new jobs will be created. Because
Yeah.
everybody talks about, well, we're going to lose this industry, we're going to lose these jobs, we're going to lose that. But nobody's talking about, because we don't know yet, because it's in the future, what new industries will be created
Yeah.
that we've never even,
Yeah.
tapped. So
There's so much there.
mm-hmm.
I will say this just to try to get back to a little bit more of like a conversation about AI at the intersection of business ownership, especially small business ownership. I know, like in my heart, in my mind, I think I wanted to go in one direction, but the more that we get in this conversation, I'm thinking about some other areas where in small business ownership, how does it affect the other things? How you make decisions with regard to working capital? How does it affect your ability to better manage yourself so that you're getting the most for your time? How is it going to be used to bring a consistency and a reliability to your delivery? And there's a lot in all of those. Those are all points of intersection that I think deserve conversation. But to me, I'm actually a little more concerned about simplicity. AI is really good at overcomplicating things. Just saying. Like, think about a prompt, a good prompt, a really good prompt. You can get the best, longest response that's 4 pages long, and you will do none of it. Because it's too much. It's too complex. So, like, how do we use it? How do we use it in a way that allows us to actually simplify what needs to be done, what needs to be executed?
Yeah, and I think that becomes the skill set. Not just being the prompt engineer, if you will, but someone who has the ability to read in between the lines and read through output.
Yeah.
And then go back and forth with iteration.
Yeah.
And I haven't used every AI system. If
Really?
we're talking consumer based, like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Atlas, there's so many of them, right?
Yes.
Gemini's leading the way. So it might not just be a marketing ploy. But from a business standpoint, big business standpoint, I mean, Google's got the money.
And ChatGPT
And
has
the runway.
none. That the reports are they're not profitable
OpenAI
until 2030. They won't be profitable till 2030.
Mm-hmm.
How bad is it going to be if that ship sinks?
See, no one's talking about that, and that's what's on my mind because I'm like, ooh, okay. So consumer wise, right? I've got my personal ChatGPT account.
Yes.
We've got our team one.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then we've got systems.
Oh no!
Right.
Oh,
now they can be
no.
replicated and rebuilt, right, on different N8N or other, I don't want to call it agentic because it's not agentic.
It's not agentic.
Yeah, people overuse that terminology.
They did.
But different workflows that leverage chat-based AI capability.
Uh-huh.
I think so many of them are built off of ChatGPT right now, where that would be interesting to see what happens, if that happens.
If you're smart, you go and you build out your systems using whatever model you like to use, which one you default to. But wisdom would say, okay, once you've built that out, now go find someone to help you build out that same system in a different model.
Yeah.
And then find someone else to help you build it in a different model, and then a different model. That way, when this ship sinks, you're not losing all your systems. You're not losing all your stuff. I just,
Wisdom would say that.
What happens to the marketplace? Like the different segments of the marketplace?
I think that news, when it happens, becomes a disruptor in a sense, because you will have different businesses at all tiers leading the way that overnight, like they're having to make a strong pivot they weren't ready for. And that just goes to being a generalist and being able to be dynamic and pivot. And to your point, ideally not having to, because you've already done the due diligence. But I think that's what happens.
But you think about all this that we're talking about. That's a lot of work for a small business owner.
Yeah.
Like, where does he or she, get the time? And I think over time you accumulate enough of the resource that you need to be able to make the best decision. It just takes time, though. I think it's like starting, and it's just you being responsible for a lot. And as you determine the equation for the right kind of growth, you're simultaneously growing the systems, then you grow the teams. But all that just takes so much time. So it's kind of this strange, I don't know. It's not great. It's not bad. It's kind of just life. Like, this is what we have to deal with. It's managing tension. That's what it is.
It's just a parallel to all the other things that, may or may not happen in life. Yeah, it's a good point.
How much attention, like if you had to look at it on a pie, how much attention are you giving it as a small business owner? Investing in AI, the use of it at these various points of intersection, the changing nature of, the AI leaders in terms of like who's bringing all this to us, the collapse of one of them that will cause a shift in the marketplace. Like, how much attention are you giving this?
More and more every day for me.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because right now, in this season of this business, I'm very in tune with systems, building systems and refining systems. And for those reasons, it's, I don't want to say top of mind, but it's damn near up there.
I feel like you can tell, though, like just all of our conversations, what you're doing, how you're progressing, how you're building. There's a methodical approach to it. And it's something that you're creating that can be repeatable, and it just helps for your business to scale with a lot less friction.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you said systems before people. From a academic standpoint, I feel like.
Sure.
At the same time, in execution, I think sometimes it's a balance of both. Sometimes my systems have been better informed by having the people. But I would say if I were to go straight out of the gate again, systems before people. Just from it's no difference than having a business plan that you never end up using. And, it informs your go-to-market strategy or whatever the case is. And then you end up pivoting along the way. And it's a living document, just like your systems should be living systems.
Yeah. But what I noticed about AI is that, do you feel like you always get a consistent answer from it? Do you know what I'm saying? So if you can't get a consistent answer from AI with a similar or the same prompt, how's AI helping you with consistency there? Like, I feel like, what do we do about this? What do we do about this?
It's a good point. And people lean on it like it's 100% accurate, and that's where the problem lies. Yeah, because they don't take the time to read between the lines and see the inconsistencies. And that's my experience. And, honestly, like, same here. Like, I've done that.
Have you? Okay, you've witnessed this.
Yeah. No, I would agree. And I just had a conversation with another person who's building systems, right? And they do a lot of AI workflows, and they use AI to do things that people used to do. Mm-hmm. AI told him to pack up his bags and go home because it was too late. Because he literally was having a problem at like 1 o'clock in the morning here in the space trying to work with inconsistency. And he got to the point like, what's the A team went home for the day or what? Like, you're usually more consistent than this, like having a chat with AI. And then the joke back to him was like, you know what? You're right. We're the B team. They all went home. You should probably do the same too. Insert name here. And I'm like, wow, that's next level
Nah.
AI chat right there. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I think it's recognized, that there are inconsistencies when you'd think, oh, I thought it was here. I thought this was version blank for sake of evergreen content.
Man.
But you're right. I don't think people pay enough attention to the inconsistencies to be able to better work the process or keep the human element in enough to offset what will happen,
Yeah.
which is, in that particular circumstance, bad customer experience. We use it whenever we have a virtual consultation with our clients. And we have a prompt that's specific for each client where we'll get a transcript. And out of that transcript, we have a firm understanding of obviously a summary, right? And Gemini does this already. If you've got Google Workspace, right, it already spits out a thing, right? So similarly, we have our own thing as well.
Yeah.
And we actually combine the two because I have one from Gemini that gets automatically done at the end of a recording.
Yeah.
And then we've got one that's informed by ChatGPT. Now, that one's informed based off of a prompt that we have and goes a little bit more in depth. Like in terms of client expectations, how to better impress, what were the things that we promised or the things that we said could be good versus, and that's may versus will, right?
Yeah.
Language.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff to better inform, how do we deliver the right goods to the customer.
But I will use it in order to build out a marketing plan for a quarter. And I can prompt it just using the voice prompt instead of trying to type it all. It actually ends up being easier for AI to kind of understand the way that I approach a thing, a matter, how I speak, any number of different things. But I will speak my prompt, and in that speaking, give it so much context that I think that it needs in order to get a game plan for the next quarter's marketing. What's it going to look like? How organized do I want it to be? There's good news and bad news in that. Like the good news is let's start with the bad news. The bad news is it will give me more information than I possibly need and information that carries me in multiple directions at the same time. And that, for me, ends up becoming a challenge because I'm thinking, okay, wait. You're saying this on this point of like a 4-page response or a 2-page response. Let me not be extreme. Like what's seemingly a 2-page response, but like early up in the response, that particular point could go like 3 different ways. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's hard not to get lost in all that it's can do. And so what I have to do then is I have to prompt it and say, hey, wait, let's take your response and let's go through it kind of a single item at a time. That way we can determine, do we need to veer off over into one of those 3 areas or one of those 3 things that could be depending on some, shifting variable. The good news is that, man, it's like I got something, right? I don't have nothing, and I didn't have to do all the work to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are good ideas that are in there. That's great. So, it's so interesting, but I use it for that. I will use it to do my marketing copy if I need to. And again, talking that prompt and AI finding ways to sound a little bit like me, cutting to the point much better than I cut to the point, right? Making sure to provide a call to action, making sure that there's a hook that's clear, identifiable, that draws people into it. So I think kind of more of an honest confession is that I could be using this a lot more and a lot better. But that use would come with a very strict, I wouldn't call it a schedule, like a very strict schedule. Okay, during this time, this is how we're prompting, and here's the aim. And then during this time, we're going to take our like what we got from that, and then we're going to extend it into now we're prompting this way with what we got there. Like overall, it's just being really structured about how I'm spending my time on AI for my business.
That's cool. I like that.
So it's just, so how am I using it? Like, I'm using it for marketing. I'm using it for strategy. I even use it for cloning and repeating cloning myself in a sense. So for example, I fed AI a bunch of different versions of my personality tests. Like over the last however many years, I've probably done like 9 or 10 that I've got.
DISC, like that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, DISC, okay. Myers-Briggs, or I guess Keirsey. I've done Working Genius, which is so freaking cool.
That one was Carlos's favorite.
Man,
right?
I love that one. It's so good. I've done Strengths Finder. I've done Enneagram. Can't stand that one.
16 personalities. Have you done that?
I have not, and I want to do that. I've heard it's like top of the line. It's like really good.
It's free.
Wait,
and
what?
If it's for free, it's for me, right? I actually, when I had W-2 employees, I would have them take the 16 personalities test so I could better understand how to work with them.
That's help me early. Yeah, help me early. There's one called the Leadership Circle Profile. It was pretty good too. I liked it. But I took all of this stuff and I basically did a prompt because at the time, I needed to be able to articulate a description of me, in certain things that I was doing. So as I was doing marketing, different things, I was trying to make sure that there was something that was out there that could have a perspective, something like mine, kind of just by way of the data, and find kind of like the intersections for all of those personality tests that would appear as me, in a sense, in whatever was being written. It did a pretty decent job. To this day, I'm still kind of impressed with it. Not so much with me, but just with how close it can get. Because when I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I would say something like that.
So it informs the overall big context behind your messaging when using it. Is that?
And believe me, I have to go in and I have to create tweaks. I have to make tweaks and say, oh, okay, maybe more this angle than that angle. So yeah, it's for me so that I used that and I created a GPT to do that, and I use that one probably as much as I use any of them, because there are times where I'm like, hey, how should I respond to this? And
you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Man, it'll have responses that one will save my tail in some ways, because I just won't know exactly how to respond.
How to respond to the wifey. Got it.
Can I be honest? I'm not gonna lie to you. There are times where I have these discussions with my wife, which is really just a code word for argument, and I'll be like, what is it called when someone says this and then does this? What is that particular psychological phenomena that we're dealing with there? And then it'll be, oh, that's called, and I'm like, So then I go back and I'm like, what you're doing
sounding
is
like a psychologist.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, my wife would kill me. That's awesome.
What's crazy is I've only been reincarnated because my wife did kill me. So here I am, and this is the new version. No, it's definitely in every area of my life, because I'm curious. I'm really curious just about all things. Mm-hmm. I could be more curious. I have a neighbor who researches the crap out of everything, literally all things. And he is just a wealth of information. It's really cool to be around. And
he's a walking ChatGPT. Yeah.
He just told me the other day, he's asking about my coffee machine at home. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's this. This is what I do. And then, the little bit that I learned, because I actually learn best through relationships. I don't tend to learn best through just, diving into material, although I like having it. I had a buddy who taught me how to pull a shot on my coffee machine. So I went and bought that coffee machine eventually. And, here I am dialing in machines and pulling shots. And so
I love how you call it a coffee machine. Is
yeah.
Is this an espresso
it's a
machine?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's an espresso machine.
Okay.
Yes, it's an espresso machine, and it's wild because I learned from my buddy. It was the relationship that brought the knowledge, and so it was really cool. So I'm telling this my new neighbor. I'm like, oh yeah. So here's what I do. Here's this. Here's that. He's like, I like that, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, cool. I shared something, and then like out of nowhere, he hits me with like all these facts, and I'm like, wait, from the way that you were asking, I did not assume that you were going to take me to school here, like, but I'm grateful, So yeah. He, but that's also a relationship, and I learned a whole lot more about coffee through that. But yeah.
Nice.
What was I answering? What question was I supposed to be answering? I can't remember.
It started with how you use
ChatGPT. That I remember.
and,
yeah.
And then we got down.
AI.
That's a wealth, though. That's good. Informing the overall context of whatever you're doing based on your personality. See, I wish that client had done that earlier on, but
I don't understand how people. I honestly, in all seriousness, I don't really understand how you wouldn't, because it's like in a personal relationship, if somebody just gives you half of a story about what their experience was and why they're upset or why they're happy or why they're going here or there, but you only got like a very small percentage.
Yeah.
Like they started, and so I, jumped the fence and then the dog bit me, and you're like, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm coming in. I feel like I'm jumping in the middle of a story. Like, what happened again? That's exactly how it is with AI. Whenever we're like giving it these terrible prompts and dude, the thing thrives on context. You got to figure out how to give it as much context as possible, without overdoing it.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Do you have any frameworks that you use that you can?
Honestly, yes.
It's not just a written out prompt.
Okay, so I used to use this one guy on Google who does a lot of teaching stuff. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was awesome. And then I kind of just started realizing that while it is a great framework and it was like 6 or 7 parts, I can't remember it all, but I know context was a big part of it. Tone was a big part of it. Format was a big part of it. Giving the thing a job to do, or a title, or a role really. That was a big part of it. And then there was always like this one more that I could just never really remember. And so that has been one thing that I have kind of always used. Interestingly enough, it was something that I kind of almost naturally gravitated towards, just because, on one of those personality tests that I took, context was like a top gift, where it's like context is kind of a thing for me. I'm trying to provide context. So my framework today, it's more like just a 2-part framework. And it's just simple. It's context and questions. So give as much context as you can. If you're present of mind in the moment, you can absolutely give it a role to begin with, and that would be helpful by saying, oh, you're a such and such kind of expert, but then you let the context flow from there. You're a such and such kind of expert, and then you start thinking about, okay, what is such and such an expert, like what's their kind of foundational principles that we need to make sure that this output is going to have abided by. And then you start providing the next layer of context, which is your unique situation or circumstance and what it needs. And then you give the context of, okay, when you give this to me, please don't answer me or give me an output that's extraordinarily long, but rather let's take it a step at a time so that I'm not drowned by the information. Mm-hmm. And then you move, once you've kind of gotten to what you feel like is this place of like, okay, cool, I think I've got it down. Now you got to move over into, okay, what questions do you have for me before you start? Which is always that was a big pickup for somebody who I think sat in this room and maybe said that. I don't know. I don't remember who it was. She did a really good job of differentiating between like the qualitative and the quantitative and how to tweak your prompts just ever so slightly enough. But I always feel like I get responses that I want. The responses that if I need it to be agreeable with me, it obviously will. That's a problem today. But if I really do need it to be objective, I feel like I can get it there to some level of objectivity.
Nice.
So that for me is it. It's if you can give it a roll, and then provide the healthiest depth of context that you can. Mm-hmm. Switch over into what questions do you have for me, and then as it gives you responses, start to begin to calibrate. Hey, you did this X amount of times. You said this at this place. I mean, being very quantitative about what you've seen, and then saying, hey, I need less of this. I need X% less of this. You think of it as a pie. Yeah. I think I need X% less of this and X% more of this. And then let it respond and just see if you can begin to calibrate the same way that you dial in an espresso machine in terms of, the grind size and then the dose, like it's the same way. Maybe even the temperature of the water. Like you're doing the same thing. You're dialing in the prompt so that you're getting the response you need.
Nice. I start out with the same more or less basic prompt.
Yeah.
But I love that because we base a lot of it off of the craft method.
Yes.
Context, role.
Yes.
Action, format, target audience.
Yeah. I like that.
But I like what you said where you're also like, oh, and by the way, what questions do you have of me?
Yeah.
And because you kind of frame it, and the way it should be framed is it's a chat-based system. Yeah. It's not a input-output. It's an input-output, calibrate, iterate,
yes,
get to actually what you want, and being able to do that in the most efficient way possible. I think that's good. So asking the questions and giving examples, that's good too.
It's like you said, this is supposed to be a chat. A chat is I talk a little bit, you talk a little bit. I talk a little bit, you talk a little bit. I find myself in more conversations than not. Most of the time, it's my fault. I'm talking a lot of bit, they talk a little bit. I talk a lot of bit, they talk a little bit. I talk a lot of bit, they talk a little bit more. I talk the most. And so, funny story, my father-in-law sat down with me the other day. I asked one question. I walked away with almost an hour's worth of information I got a few questions in, but he was so passionate about what he was saying. And I found myself connecting to the passion, despite the fact that it was a lot of info at one time. Mm-hmm. ChatGPT can be that way, except negatively, where it's going to give you so much information back. Not just ChatGPT. Sorry, no shade.
Gemini.
Like they all can. AI gave back. It's like Coca-Cola. Like we call everything. AI gave back or gives back just heaping amounts of information, and it's overwhelming, super overwhelming. And so I actually have to say, hey, and I did this for this field study that I was trying to do. I said, hey, that was too much for me to answer. It's like when my wife is really on one, she's going to ask me a question, and I'm going to answer the question, but I'm not going to complete that answer before I get another question, which is the trick of marriage I have not yet figured out, and I need help. No, in all seriousness, it's just too much, and I have to say to ChatGPT, I have to say to all AI, I'm like, okay, one at a time. Like, let's take this step by step. Let's not, and that actually helps me within a craft framework, within a context, role, example, format, tone, framework, and I can get a lot better results, and I can calibrate it more.
And I've heard let's take it step by step, word for word, in order to dumb things down, right?
Dude, in a way. It came out of a legitimate place of overwhelm. I was just super overwhelmed. But that's another thing to actually talk about is we experience as people, we experience burnout a lot of times when we're doing something that may be a good thing, but we're not giving ourselves a proper amount of time away from whatever the doing is to actually rebuild our stores, whatever those stores look like. Yeah. And so with AI, you could be sitting there from morning until night and never have moved, haven't gotten a ton of freaking information. That the overwhelm is real, and then like the burnout is real. I can't wait till we start talking about like, AI-led burnout, which I think is probably, if it's not already here, which I don't hear about it much. Hey, say it again?
TM.
If it's not already here, I'd be surprised. But that's the thing to talk about is like, man, are you getting burned out by your AI? And if so, is it really the AI's fault, or is it the fact that you've never been provided with the kind of framework for use that is more productive than, leading to burnout?
Yeah. I picture some guy or gal there, just back and forth, just not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah. I think we got to step back. The ability to connect internally and to say, hey, how am I actually doing right now? Am I good? Like, I've been here for like a couple hours. I might need to get up and take a walk. I might need to go think this through. I might need to take a break for this for the day, put it down for the day, come back to it tomorrow, whatever. But just that ability to bring that level of consciousness, awareness, and like into how we interact with all this stuff, so that we can be healthy, responsible in our use of it. Because if not, the overwhelm is just real. The way that I experienced it that day, and then all of a sudden I just said, wait, can you please just give it to me one at a time? Like, this is kind of too much in terms of response. I can't do all that at once and keep up with this conversation. The conversation will be all over the place.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Hopefully it's not just me.
No, I'm with you. And I've had that AI burnout too, until I realized how to better communicate, I think.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, still then. Yeah.
You think it's making us, like, how do you feel AI is impacting us as communicators?
So my biased answer is moving into 2026 here, right? Or in 2026, whenever this airs. Right? I want to use it to make myself a better communicator, because I want to feed myself this new information, and I want to be a creator, and I want to come up on screens, right? But I want to use that as a way of, okay, now I've got this, let me create it in this form.
Yeah.
As a human to other humans.
Yeah.
And I think that used that way will make people better communicators.
Yeah.
Hey, help me craft my pitch.
Yeah.
I'm so-and-so. I've taken these personality tests.
Yep.
I'm passionate about this. My big vision and people I want to help are these people. These are their pain points. Help me refine my pitch for that target audience.
Yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. I wouldn't say it that way. I'd probably say, perfect. That's what I want to say. Let me practice that a couple of times. Oh, it sounds like a script. Let me practice that a few times and then, black out a word here and there. Strike through. Now it's memory. Now I'm just talking straight to the camera. Now I can be able to actually have face-to-face communication. I think there's a way to use it in a positive way.
It's making us better communicators. We have to communicate our thoughts effectively to get the answers that we need. I had to be careful there. I don't say the answers that we want, which is dangerous. But for the answers that we need that are going to lead us to a type of breakthrough that we're looking for in our endeavors. But it's making us better communicators. Written word, even the spoken word, I think, helping to organize thoughts. I'll never forget I was reading my Bible, and when I read my Bible, I will take notes. I'm sure a lot of people do that. But I'm just writing down like super random stuff that's coming to mind that connects to whatever it is that's sitting right in front of me on the page. And as I wrote it down, I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to feed these notes to AI, but I'm going to do it and give it like a context and tell it I want it to return something to me that I don't even want to know what you want to return. Like, what would you do with it? Like, what would you do with this information that I have gathered based on what I just read? You know, and here's the context of who I am right now. You've got all my personality tests, yada, yada, yada. But what's really important to me right now as a father is like doing this for my son, doing this for my daughter, doing this for my wife, and being this in my community. Those things are really important to me right now. Like so I put all this kind of context in there, and I said, okay, now what would you do with this? And it was like, honestly, I'd probably throw this into some type of a journal, maybe make a vlog, maybe do this other thing, do a little bit of this. Here's what you could do with this. And it started to give me back really cool stuff that I could communicate, but it sounded like me. And then I remember when I posted about it, I got so many people talking to me about that, not knowing that was the way I did that. And I was like, oh, people should do this and like make some money. You know? Anyway, but it made me a better communicator in that moment. It took something that I was communicating, and it even drew connections that were so hard for me to find the right words for. And when it gave me the output, I was like, I didn't know how to articulate that, but that was it. I love those moments.
Nice. You said spoken word. As a linguist, I can remember certain teachers explaining like, oh no, like muscle memory, like you have to say that a certain amount of times for it to be eloquent and for it to stick with you. But like physically, like your mouth has to move that direction a certain amount of times, or your lips, your tongue, whatever, as a linguist, for it to become fluid and natural.
Yes.
But I think that's another good point.
I would actually love to hear more about things that you learned and principles that you established in your life that are like life principles because of your time spent as a linguist.
Oh man, that's deep.
It's very dope. Like we would learn so much from that. Not just that, but like the other stuff, you know, the behavioral
Jedi mind
pattern. Yeah, dude. Yeah. That to me is fascinating. Like the ability, because like every time that we're around each other, I'm kind of always like side eye, like looking to see what Matt's doing across the room to see how he is. How is Matt approaching this room right now? What is he doing that I don't know that he's doing that's helping not only him but the environment to be one that he can be the most productive in, and that he can bring the most value to. And so, because you always bring value to a room, so I'm like, man, what is he doing? What is he reading?
Likewise, thanks for the kudos. Appreciate it.
What is he picking up on right now in this moment? Like, I'm always wondering.
So my wife doesn't believe it, but anything I ever learned from, and before the whole behavioral threat assessor thing, when I was when she knew me as a fresh interrogator, right?
Oh gosh,
that was her biggest fear. She was like, "Are you reading me right now?" And all, but like,
full disclosure, were you reading?
At the time, yes. But the truth is, the more you get close to somebody, that there's a barrier there. It doesn't work as well. In my experience.
Okay, so now we're talking like personal life stuff, which is always good, I think. It doesn't matter no matter how well you know somebody, who we are is like, it's stuff that's deep rooted, and we don't even know why we're doing what we're doing, while at the same time, it's a paradox, we know exactly why we're doing what we're doing. It's just subconscious and we haven't connected to it. And like the time that it takes to sit down and to think through all of the channels and life experiences that shaped feelings in this present moment, to sit there, that's hard work to do. To me, I think that's like heavy mental, emotional lift. Like something happens to me and I'm like, okay, wait, why am I going there? This actually happened like right before I came here. I was in a men's group meeting. It was a business meeting. and we were talking about some things, and it just hit me in the moment because somebody across from me was saying something, and I was able to connect it to what I had experienced earlier, and I went, that's why I do that. I'm doing that because I don't trust that things are going to work themselves out, and I'm actually trying to control some element of narrative as it relates to how I will be perceived. And the truth is, like, you don't have that kind of control, but things will shake out naturally if you'll just allow them to. You just need to respond. You need to respond at like the height of what you know your responsibility to be. Like integrity there, that matters. So
that's a good observation.
I would, yeah, but you know, it's so funny. I wouldn't have any observations if it wasn't for like the people that I happen to put myself around.
Relationships.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's the only way I think to grow. It's the only way to get better at prompting AI. Right there, I brought it back around. It doesn't really. It doesn't really connect. I just did it. I just. Yeah. I forced that on purpose.
Yeah. Well, you said it makes you a better communicator, and I would argue that I wouldn't argue. I would agree that.
Yeah.
Because it makes you a better communicator with the platform itself.
Yeah.
You're therefore probably going to become a better communicator with your fellow humans, right?
Yes.
You would think so.
Yes. You would think so. I think the education system needs to ease up a little bit, like not allowing kids to use ChatGPT.
Oh.
Not allowing kids to use AI when the reality is.
Agreed.
Honestly, you probably need to teach them the most responsible way to use this and let them know, hey, no, we know that you're going to use it to cheat on some cases, and we're not accepting that. We're going to tell you how to use this responsibly, ethically, and we're going to trust you to do it. And if we catch you doing something other than that, there will be consequences.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. So my wife, she finishes, kudos to the wifey. She finishes, shout out wifey. She finishes her doctoral program this month.
Congratulations.
Not MD, but Doctor of Nurse, DMP. So
congratulations, Dr. Nelson, Mrs. Dr. Nelson.
There it is. Yeah. So she finishes that, and she's born and raised in East Texas, listens to more country music than this Georgia boy ever has, and Vietnamese American in a Vietnamese household.
No.
So language-wise, like she'll has some nuances when it comes to written language.
Yes.
And professional correspondence, right? And that's always been like something she's worked on.
Yeah.
And phenomenal writer now. But that's one of the things, like her now professor, who's worked with her over the past few months in her most recent course, they actually encouraged it and said, hey, you should use ChatGPT or AI, whatever system you use, when you're writing, because the way you want to write is there. Your intention is there. Use that. Don't just copy and paste, but use that to better understand how you can better write. And I thought that was pretty cool.
The framework that they gave her, that would be fascinating.
Right. Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that. The encouragement for students to use things responsibly so that they can unlock whatever it is that's kind of within that they're longing for some access to and can't quite figure out the right route there.
Yeah. And I think that shows a level of intelligence for that professor.
Yeah.
To be able to say, oh, they're going to use it anyways.
Yep.
At least show them the right, responsible way to do it and how to get better results and how to become a better person in general. You know?
Dude, so, I learned honors geometry, learned how to help my son in his geometry class. Dude, like, we can learn with this stuff. Let's just use it.
I am not ready, man. I'm lucky mine are still little, but man, at some point I'm just going to be reverting to AI to help me with this.
Just wait till math stops being math. That's when
I feel like
math.
It's getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why are you drawing circles and shit on the paper? I don't get it. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, dude.
Good combo.
I like it. This is great. It's great. It's a great talk just around the things that we love, things in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Business, AI, people we love.
I was going to say people, yeah.
Yeah. Relationships. It's all there. Interconnected.
Till next time.